have some chit-chat.
We'll hear some music.
I hear you, hear you, diamonds in the sky. I hear you, queen. You wanna know how to make me smile?
Keep listening. From the oldest city in the world, with John Talk Show.
You want it? You got it.
Every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m.
Good evening, Palestine. Welcome to the John Talk Show. I understand that we have Dr. Rola Maya online.
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello. Welcome, Dr. Rola.
Thank you very much.
How are you today, Kifak?
I'm fine, Ahlan.
Wonderful. Welcome back to Palestine. Are you in the Jericho area?
No, actually I was in Cairo, and I only arrived today, yes.
Oh, okay. We thought you were in Jordan.
And I was in Jordan and in Cairo, and I came,
Yes, wonderful. So I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to hear some of the talk that I was mentioning earlier on the show about the tourist industry. And so were you able to listen before you called?
No, only the last minute.
Okay.
Only the last minute,
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're doing today is just talking about tourism and some of the issues that relate to the Palestinian economy and the people of Palestine, how the people can benefit from tourism. And so we'd like to hear maybe any ideas that you have about that. And one of the points that I made earlier was that there are many challenges, I'm sure. You're more aware of them than I am. But what I've learned is the image of Palestine, the external image of Palestine is inconsistent with the internal reality. And I think this is a big problem. As I said earlier, that you come to Palestine and you find that the people are warm and friendly and there's no threat to life or limb. If I want to go to any country and I want to create a disturbance, I can certainly have problems. But when people come to Palestine and they want to experience the people and they want to stay away from confrontation, political and religious confrontations, they have an extraordinary experience and it's a very safe place. I can testify that it's a very safe place and the people are wonderful. And so how would you go about recreating this image of Palestine in the face of the world? How would the people around the world who are interested in the Holy Land have a more realistic perception of Palestine, that it is a safe place?
Yes. Well, first, I would like to say that tourism is one of the most important sectors in Palestine, and it helps a lot the Palestinian economy, because when we talk about tourism, we don't talk only about the hotels. We talk about the whole community. Many people are benefit directly or indirectly from tourism in Palestine.
Yes.
Talking about the image, if we go back to a few years ago, we had a real problem, which was that most of the tourists who used to come to Palestine, because of the stereotype, the image they took about Palestine, they preferred visiting Palestinian cities, Palestine, for a couple of hours, sometimes half an hour, and then go stay in hotels in other places. We wanted to change this mentality. We wanted the whole world to know that Palestine is safe. Palestinians are welcoming all their guests from all over the world. Actually, we worked hard on this. We worked on the diplomatic level, and we worked with the private sector, either here in Palestine or with the private sector in many countries all over the world. Actually, we succeeded because the last few years, and especially, let's say, the last 5 years, and especially the last 2 years from 2012 until this moment, every year we had an increase, not only in number of visitors coming to Palestine, but also in overnight stays in Palestine.
Yes.
Only the year 2012, we had like a jump, a high increase of of 18% in terms of number of visitors coming to Palestine and 25% in terms of accommodation in Palestine. The year 2013 actually it was a big challenge for us because like a jump like this we have to keep it so that the numbers won't decrease again. The year 2013 again we had an increase in number of visitors and in accommodation in Palestine.
Yes.
Until this moment, until this year, the first half of the year, before the Israeli aggression on Gaza, we again had an increase of 8%. If there was no aggression in Gaza, then this year would have been the best among all years. But unfortunately, we had lots of cancellations, especially until mid of September. Hopefully, now things will move better, and all those who canceled will reschedule again, or for this year or for next year. Talking about the image, we are under occupation, and the occupation, what they want all the time is the benefit for themselves, and they want to give us peanuts.
It seems like Palestine receives only, what I understand, 3% of the total revenue that comes in from the tourist industry. Is that correct?
3%.
Yes.
3% from the hotels. But if we add all those who are working in the tourism sectors, the shops, souvenir shops.
Sure. There's a benefit there.
Yes, there is a benefit, and it goes up to 13 or 15%. But when we're talking about the hotels, then it's almost 3 to 5%. I think the benefit is more, of course, when tourists come and stay in Palestine. Let me now I remembered that most of the hotels, actually, the owners of the hotels, told me before the Israeli aggression in Gaza that they had overbooking of almost 200% until the end of the year. Imagine this.
Wow.
Yes, before the aggression on Gaza,
yes.
And they had cancellations. Hopefully the cancellations, as I mentioned, will stop and tourists would reschedule. But before, the last few years, we never had an increase of we never had reservations on the waiting list 200% overbooking. This was the first time. This means that Inshallah. This means that the image is changing in the world.
Yes.
The Israeli propaganda is not succeeding like it used to succeed before. We're working, as I mentioned, on the diplomatic level, contacting all the representatives in the country, contacting the private sector all over the world, and through our activities, we succeeded to change this image because, as you mentioned, Palestine is safe, and I'm always saying to all those who come and visit us here in Palestine, I don't want to say that Palestine is safe, and I'm saying this to diplomats. I want you to walk in the street alone in the evening in any city in Palestine and see it yourself. Go walk in the evening at 10 o'clock in any other city. In any other part of the world, and come walk here in Palestine, in any city in Palestine, and you yourself will know the difference yourself. You will see. Yes, and this is the truth. And many diplomats came to me, and they told me what you said is true. Like Palestine is safe, and the people, and what we have here in Palestine is different from any other part of the world. Like if a tourist is lost, let's say, in the street in the evening, and he asks someone about the way how to go back to his hotel, then tens of people will come try
give
to
him
help
a ride.
him.
Yes,
give him a ride, try to help him.
Invite them for kawai and shai and have some makluba and some mansa on the way.
Yes. So Palestine is different,
Yes.
And the world started understanding this. Of course, we still have problems. The Israeli media is strong all over the world. I don't say it's easy, but I'm saying we're on the right track. We're doing our best, and hopefully things will move better in the future.
Yes, inshallah. I think that if I could ask you a question here, it seems that there is a disproportionate number of Israeli guides and Palestinian guides. And one of the issues that I raised earlier was that when I travel around and I go to a country, if I go to France or Italy, I want to hear what French life is like or Italian life is like from the French and the Italians, from the people who are living there. I don't want to hear, from someone else. It's not that I'm against them or opposed to them. I'm just interested in learning about the culture from the people who live in the culture. And this is what is so wonderful about traveling. Traveling is, I think it was Mark Twain that said that traveling is the best cure for prejudice.
That's true.
And I think the more people that come to Palestine will overcome their prejudices about life here and the people here. But what can be done to maybe change or equalize in some way, the ratio of Israeli guides and Palestinian guides? Because I know one of the issues is that whose narrative do the tourists hear when they come to Palestine and the West Bank? They hear mostly on these tours Israeli narrative. And if I'm in Israel, I want to hear the Israeli narrative. When I'm in Palestine, I want to hear the Palestinian narrative. And so what could be done to increase the use of the guides here? Because I understand that there are from 180 to 300 West Bank guides. 46 are allowed to work in the Israeli territories. And I know some of the guides here in Jericho, they're very dedicated, very kind, good, intelligent people who want to work, but there's no work for them. What can be done to perhaps allow the Palestinian guides to talk to those tourists who come on those buses into the West Bank?
Yeah, actually what you're saying is very, very important. And this is one of the most important issues we've been working on for years now. The problem is that you mentioned 46 tour guides. No, only 42 can enter Jerusalem or Israel. And when I came to office 2.5 years ago, some of the people who are in the list either died or are in their 90s. They couldn't work anymore, and they're still in the list. And the Israelis are not allowing others to replace them. But we succeeded until this moment, and it's not a success at all, actually, because we have the right to have all our tourist guides working in Palestine,
why not?
including Jerusalem.
It's only
and
normal.
Yes, but what's happening is that most of the tourists who come to Palestine, they come to Palestine and to Israel. When they come either through Ben Gurion Airport or through Jordan. And what happens in most of the cases is that when they come already with an Israeli guide. Of course, many tourists come through Palestinian tour operators, but once they are in Israel, and Palestinians cannot have permits to work in Jerusalem or in Israel, so they take Israeli guides.
Yes.
The problem is that Palestinian guides who do not have permits and are the majority, of course, they don't only they're not only not working in Jerusalem or Israel, but they're also not working in Bethlehem and Jericho. Why? Because when the tourists come, they're already with another tour guide, so they have their tour guide. They won't look for another one when they are in Palestinian cities. So what we're trying to do is that, like, until this moment, we're pushing hard to have permits for these, but as usual, the Israelis are refusing. But what we try to do is try to convince and to push on the international tour operators that in order to understand more about Palestine, Palestinians, and even holy places, because
Yes.
Israeli guides, they have different, let's say, opinions about
Absolutely.
the holy, about in Palestine. So we try to convince them that in order to know the truth, either the political or the religious, you need to have, or the culture, to know about the culture of Palestinians, you need to have Palestinian guides being with you. So now we see many groups coming from different parts of the world. When they come to Palestine, they ask for Palestinian guides. So many, like most of the guides are now working, not of course like the ones who have the permit to Jerusalem and Israel, but many now are working in Jericho or Bethlehem, mainly Bethlehem, not because the Israelis want this, but because the tourists are asking this. We are contacting,
putting pressure on.
Church, putting pressure and saying we want Palestinian guides in Palestine.
Yes, but I know that there are, excuse me, not to interrupt you, but I know that there's some Jericho guides here that are not able to work, and they're very willing and able and wanting to work. They want to do their job, but there's no work for them, and it's very depressing to see such talented people being underutilized. I have a question here.
I understand, but
yes,
please.
In terms of following along with this idea, I hope someone will call in if they have an idea or suggestion or a comment. Please call us at 231-3771 and 231-3772. This is the John Talk Show live from Jericho, 93.5 FM. We're talking about tourism and how we can improve the situation, particularly with regard to the tour guides. I understand, Dr. Rola, that there is a joint committee between Israeli Tourism Ministry and the Palestinian Authority. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. Do you know if there is a joint committee in which these issues can be raised and some practical solutions realized?
No, actually, our contacts with the Israeli side are only through Shun Madaniya, through the...
So this is misinformation I found on the website. Was a pretty credible site with a lot of information about Palestinian tourism, and it specifically indicated that there was a joint committee formed for collaboration between Israeli Tourism Ministry and the Palestinian Authority, but perhaps that's not an avenue to work at. Yes?
I've been in office for like almost 2.5 years, and the only contact we have is through the Shun Madani, the civil. Yes, but okay. Otherwise, no. And like the pressure we're putting on the Israeli side is through them.
Yes. Another point that I'd like to bring up quickly here. We don't have too much time, and there's so much to talk about. I discovered that, do you know about the Office of the Quartet Representative? It's an organization formed by Tony Blair. It's out of London. Yes. There's an office in Jerusalem. That I understand that there's a collaboration, supposedly, on paper at least, between the Office of the Quartet Representative and the United Nations World Tourism Organization, UNWTO, that supports the initiative for Palestinian economy to help develop tourism in the Palestinian territories. Is it true that that these three agencies, the Office of the Quartet Representative, United Nations World Tourism Organization, and the Ministry of Tourism here in Palestine, are working together effectively to market the Palestinian territories as a tourist destination and change the image that Palestine has?
Yes, we are cooperating with the UNWTO and with the quartet. I also met with Mr. Blair. Like in Cairo, I was with the General Secretary of the UNWTO yesterday, actually, and we had a meeting there. Talking about the tour guides, for instance, when I first met Mr. Blair, and we had meetings with the quartet office. We mentioned the problem of the tour guides, like in many of our meetings, and Mr. Blair himself and his staff promised to help us to give to push on the Israeli side to give them permits. But until this moment, as I told you, we didn't succeed. We didn't succeed at all because the Israelis, as I mentioned at the beginning, they want their own benefit. They don't want Palestinians.
They want the lion's share of the revenues. It's all usually about money, isn't it? You know.
Yes, money and politics for
and
them.
Politics.
And you mentioned the Jericho guides. You know, the worst situation is with Jericho guides. In Bethlehem here, it's much easier because much more tourists come to Bethlehem, and many of the tour operators, when they ask for a Palestinian guide, it's usually here in Bethlehem, because Bethlehem, of course, Jericho is a very important destination, and many tourists come to Jericho, but much more tourists come to Bethlehem.
Yes, because of the nativity.
Yes, because of the nativity. So we are working and cooperating with, as you mentioned, the UNWTO.
That's good.
Mr. Blair's office, the quartet. We hope we will succeed. And by the way, we're organizing. It was supposed to be in December. Now it would be a little bit delayed. We're organizing a UNWTO conference in Palestine, and it was supposed to be early December, the 1st and the 2nd. But during our meeting yesterday with the General Secretary, we suggested a different date because now, because of the problems we had the last couple of months, and they couldn't send the invitations. Hopefully, when we fix the times again, and hopefully it's not. It will be within 2 months after December, that this also will help tourism in Palestine.
Wonderful.
Because, sorry?
Yes, wonderful. Very.
Yeah.
What about developing alternative tourism that often that can involve individual tour guides being hired, more cultural tourism? Not so much political, but a cultural experience, promoting with videos because of the social media, using videos to promote life in the Palestinian people and developing more bed and breakfast lodgings. I suppose that wouldn't be good for the hotel industry, but bed and breakfasts are very popular with Westerners and Europeans and North Americans.
Yes. Well, actually, of course, we started working on alternative tourism, and we're working now with Masar Ibrahim Institution, which they started working actually, and we helped them in having funds from different organizations, international organizations. The idea is that we want tourists to come and visit all Palestine. We want tourists to know about the Palestinian culture. The idea is to have tourists walk all over Palestine from the north to the south, Masar Ibrahim. And in this, we are cooperating with the local communities, the local communities in different villages from the north to the south. And we are working on renovating youth hostels in different places, old buildings that are being renovated so that tourists will stay in these hostels. And some of them are now working, for instance, in Sebastia. There is a hostel in Sebastia that was renovated. When a tourist stays there, they experience not only the life of Palestinians nowadays, but the life Palestinians used to live. They even have the breakfast. We used to have 30 years ago, and eat taboon bread or something like this.
It's wonderful.
And this attracts lots of tourism.
They're very interested in that. I had an experience of living with a Bedouin family, Abu Musa, outside of Bethlehem, near the Dead Sea, and sitting there in the tent and watching them make coffee. Grinding it up, cooking it, and then grinding it up in the container.
Yes, part of this.
Yes, and making bread, fresh bread.
Yes.
It's wonderful. I think a lot of people would love to see that and have that real Palestinian Bedouin experience as well.
Yes, and this track goes to, for instance, to Arab al-Jahalin. And when we were going to check the places, I remember a few months ago, I went with the governors of Jericho and Bethlehem to Arab al-Jahalin, and with the French consulate, the French consul general, and many people from France at that time. We went to Arab al-Jahalin, which is part of al-Masar, of the track.
Yes.
And we had lunch there, a Bedouin lunch. And all the French who were with us, including the French consul general, were really impressed. So this type of tourism, I think, will develop in the next few years, because it's still a new
market.
New
huge potential market. I have another question here quickly. We have a little bit more time here. It seems to me that something that would really benefit the tourist industry here is increasing the Arab tourist population. I think that only Arabs account for 3% of the total tourism in Palestine, Arabs from other Arab countries. What do you think about marketing to, the Arab countries to come to Palestine and increase, their presence here, not just, Europeans and North Americans or Asians, but try to market to the Arab communities?
Yes. Well, actually, we've been aware of this for years now, and we thought that we have to focus on the Islamic world and on the Arab world, because 92 to 95% of tourists coming to Palestine are Christian pilgrimage.
Yes.
So we wanted to have alternative tourism, and we wanted to have tourists from the Islamic world and from the Arab world. Actually, the problem we're facing is that from, let's say, the Arab world now, not the Islamic world. The Arab world, we have two problems. One problem is the visa issues coming to Palestine. The other thing is that some Arabs think that they shouldn't visit Palestine while Palestine is still under occupation. So we worked hard on this, actually, and we tried to convince the Arabs that visiting Palestine is not visiting Israel, visiting
it's a
Palestine.
Positive, supportive people.
Yes, by visiting Palestine, you're supporting Palestine and Palestinians on the economic level, political level, and somehow we succeeded, because at the beginning this was a real problem. The second problem, as I told you, the visa. Some want to come, but they can't have the visa. The easier thing was to work not only on the Arab world but on the Islamic world, and we succeeded much more with the Islamic world. For instance, the last 2 years we worked with Indonesia and Turkey, and now many Turks and Indonesians are coming to Palestine. Maybe 4 months ago, the Indonesian ambassador in Jordan, because we don't have an ambassador here, he came together with our ambassador in Indonesia. They visited me in the office, and I was happy to tell them that we had last year, the year 2013, and it was the first time ever that we received 30,000 Indonesians to Palestine.
Wonderful.
But what was amazing is that the ambassador told me we have more accurate statistics, because here you don't control the borders, and our statistics show that 40,000 Indonesians came to Palestine. And I think, yes, their statistics are much more accurate, because they know they they controlled their borders, and they knew how many came to Palestine. And this was the first time ever. And Turkey, also many Turks are coming now to Palestine. In some months, if you go to Jerusalem hotels, because these tourists, when they want to come, they would like to stay in Palestinian hotels in East Jerusalem.
Yes.
So in some cases, when we visit hotels in Jerusalem, some of the hotels are fully occupied with Turks or Indonesians. I hope that more and more tourists from Indonesia, Turkey, and hopefully this year with Malaysia, because we signed another agreement with Malaysia, that tourists will come and the number will increase.
Wonderful.
I mean, if you look back 2 years ago, like we didn't have any tourists who came from the Islamic world. Now we are optimistic, and despite all the problems we're facing with the occupation, hopefully we're on the right track, and
Yes.
Tourism will develop.
Wonderful. I think that Jericho is a premier destination. I've been around Israel and Palestine, and I think that really Jericho just has so much to offer for all kinds of people, for all kinds of reasons. It's the oldest city in the world. It's the Dead Sea, which is wonderful for your skin and to float in. It's an unusual experience. The desert, wilderness, the Bedouin, the people of Jericho themselves are wonderful. The history in the area here is just remarkable, and it's such a wonderful destination. And I think it's a premier destination in Palestine and in the Holy Land. And I'm surprised that not more people actually come here. People know about Bethlehem certainly because of the Nativity in Jerusalem, but I think Jericho just offers so much more. You have so much more going on here for all different kinds of people, and so I think that it's a place to certainly be promoted and to change the minds of the people in the world about Palestine being a safe place, because it really bothers me when I hear this and I see this and I read this image. It's just not true. It's a malicious lie, and it's really sad because the Palestinian people are very kind and friendly and loving and supportive, and that's why I've stayed here, and I just love living at Akbar Jabir. So I want to thank you so much for calling in, Dr. Rola. It's very kind of you to take the time to speak with us and share the work that you're doing, and we all hope, inshallah, that you will see continued progress in developing tourism here in Palestine.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll have some chit-chat.
We'll hear some music.
I hear you, hear you, diamonds in the sky. I hear you, queen. You wanna know how to make me smile?
Keep listening. From the oldest city in the world, with John Talk Show.
Want it? You got it.
Every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m.